Hello everyone, I'm McKenzie Mitchell and welcome to Threads. Today we're back in Orlando, Florida, and we're chatting with a professional wrestler, rapper, podcaster, actor, champion, and father, Swerve Strickland. Hey, we're at Swerve's house.
Oh, snap, yeah.
We're actually at Swerve's house. Whose house is it?
Back.
It's Swerve's house, right?
Swerve's
This is my
house.
second time. We did your podcast, the Swerve City podcast. That's kind of how this started, was the conversation there to be able to get you on Threads, and I'm so glad for you to be here, or I guess to be at your house doing Threads, so thank you.
I appreciate the effort of coming through over to my place and making this happen, because y'all turned this into like an awesome studio, and I never filmed anything in this area, so you're the only person that's done that, so that's awesome, and y'all really made this thing look really like incredible.
Well, thank you, and we have a lot to get into.
I have a lot of stuff.
We kind of give a little bit of a spoiler on the podcast when we were talking about some of your inspiration of your gear, but we'll get into that eventually.
Oh yeah.
Let's start with day one. Let's think back to like Little Swerve, OG gear.
Yeah.
What did that look like?
My first day one gear. So my first gimmick was in 2009. I had my debut in March. So like we're in March.
Is this on the
now.
Indies, right?
Yeah.
This is Indies, okay.
Yeah, this is like, I didn't touch television until like maybe 8 years later.
Wow.
So I was trained in Ground Zero Wrestling in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
And I moved down there after I finished my military and stuff in Pennsylvania, where I was like, ended up being stationed on reservist. And I just packed all my stuff and moved down to Richmond. I was like, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. My mom was like, well, I got a nice couch for you down here. Oh. You can sleep on the couch. She was like, dude, go after whatever you want to go after. I just need to know you're okay. So I was like, pro wrestling is what I want to do. I want to try it. And there was this character that they had on the show in the company already. His name was Reverend J. Boog. He was literally a reverend.
Okay.
Like I was coming up on like finishing my training. They were like, hey, he's ready for his shows, but where are we going to stick him? Where do we put him? And so they were like, actually, we're going to put him with Reverend.
You got put with a
Boog.
reverend?
So I was Deacon Strickland.
Oh,
that
wow.
was my debut, and I did a tag match. And,
so what did that gear look like?
Like I had like a mohawk cut. I was like, why would a deacon have a mohawk afro cut? I had like the little like rubber like bands around the bicep area, because I was trying to get whatever muscle I could to show. And it was just like slacks, like church slacks and kick pads, white and black kick pads.
Look at how far you've came, right?
It was very simple, and then like on a church robe.
Well, a lot of people, some do, some don't know if they don't follow you, that you are a rapper by trade. That's something that you're involved in as well. Do you have any of your influence of being a musician in some of your gear?
Tons.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Early stages, I was wearing like kind of like the vests, and it was like you would see a lot of black crows on it. And there was like a merch shirt that I had. It was like Metamorphosis of Swerve, and it was just like kind of like all black, but it was just like white lettering, small font, and then like me doing my pose, and then like crows falling down.
Okay.
You know, and I looked up the meaning of the crow as like a metamorphosis, a change. And at that time, I was kind of growing up, coming out of like doing the Jackson 5 entrance with I Want You Back, and I was like, okay, how do I mature this though? But I still want to keep musical influence in it, but I'm not a kid anymore. I'm going into like my mid to late 20s. How do I mature this? And that's when the Travis Scott Biebs in the Trap album came out, and I saw him sitting on a throne on the album cover, and there was a lot of crows and everything, and I could hear the music, and I was just like, man, this feels really dark. It feels very like menacing. I want to try to portray that and match that same feel with my look. And at the time, Tommy and Aleister Black got signed to NXT, so me and him were like very mimicking a lot of like our stuff together and watching tapes.
Same feel, right?
So he saw where I was going, and so he gave me his vest. And so I started wearing his vest.
Wow.
On the Indies,
okay, I didn't know
NXT
that.
Champion, yeah. So a lot of times you'll see me in black vest or whatever. That's Malachi's before, or Aleister's at the time. That was his last vest. That was his debut NXT vest. So he gave that to me, and I
That's
started wearing
crazy.
them on. Yeah.
I've learned that actually throughout doing this series, doing threads, that a lot of people like have worn the same wrestling boots. Like a couple different people. The Iconics have shared wrestling boots. Victoria and Tori Wilson.
Yeah.
It's crazy how it's all so connected, and it's such a small world in the wrestling world. What's your creative process when you're putting together a look for either in ring or even just a backstage or something in wrestling?
My look always matches the mood, I would feel. What would that character wear? Not me. Not what Swerve would wear, some casual stuff like this, but what would the Swerve Strickland character, the Mogul, wear on the off chance that he's just casually just strolling through the back? If he's like, how would his mood?
How's he presented to the world?
How's he presented? But what would his energy be if you just came up with him with a microphone? What would he be wearing, and how would that match the same thing? Sometimes I would just be having a hoodie, Mogul Embassy hoodie. I was like, because he's on downtime, he just wrestled a match, so I would just be wearing a hoodie, or like, okay, this is big match time, so time to get something intricate. I gotta show out, a little bit more, or like the opponent, like, okay, this is like impromptu match, not too much time to like prep for it, no real feud or bad blood between me and the opponent, so yeah, I'll wear this jacket.
It gives authenticity to the character, to the performer itself.
But I also want to give importance to the opponent.
Sure.
Like, oh, you're someone I have to glow up for.
I don't think that a lot of people think about that, though. I think that you're one of the only performers that I've heard that does that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to think of it that I don't know if people think about the opposite side of the coin.
Yes. It's like the NFL. Like, it's playoff time. So-and-so is going to wear this. He's going to wear, like, headband LeBron. Uh-oh, he put his headband on.
You knew it was game time.
Uh-oh, like, there's certain things like that. Like, you get into the mode because of what you wear.
Sure. Do you have any hidden messages or meaning in any of your gear?
Life and death really comes, like, full circle. It's on my arm. Like, I have the cross at the front of my tattoos on the forearm. Okay. And then up top, it goes into, like, Grim Reaper and, like, a dead soldier on the back of it. And, like, a lot of those things kind of link together. It's like, in order for, like, really me to meet that metamorphosis, you kind of got to die first. You got to kill everything before you, and then that resurrects and brings new life. So you'll see a lot of, like, skeletons, skulls, like Dark Angel, in a sense, which stems back to that Travis Scott album, Birds in the Trap. It's, like, very dark and, like, it's kind of like
it's a transformation.
Yeah.
With that, do you have a color that you feel is significant to you typically when you're putting a set of gear together or a look together?
There always has to be, like, some type of black, like, something in there, which is easy to do, but it's all about where it's at for me. I'd still say, like, I'm experimenting with colors to this day with certain things.
Is there one that's your favorite that stood out so far?
For sure, probably the burgundy. Burgundy is just something, but, like, I remember at the time when I got into it, like, there was like 5 other people on the show with burgundy. Like, Britt Baker came out with burgundy, and, like, the Guns had burgundy, then this person had burgundy.
So it's time to change.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, time to pivot. And, like, I love the color, but it's like I can't stick with it too long. I'm like,
Well, I will say, you and I worked together at NXT. We had a little fun backstage when you were part of Hit Row. And even before then, we were just finding out that you started in April, I started in March, right before you came in. Your run in AEW has been significantly different than your time in WWE. And it's been really refreshing and really cool for me to see as a friend of yours, as a fan. Do you feel like this time in AEW has been a newfound confidence almost of like who you are, because your star is getting to shine and you're seeing that as you are in the ring and who you are as a performer, that's all coming out and we're seeing that in front of our eyes?
I was thinking about something like this question and like this topic like for a couple days now. Like if there's one mistake I say I made in the past with like Hit Row and NXT and WWE, I should have stepped up and been just, I'm the leader of this, instead of trying to be a team player.
Okay.
Like team player, like I wanted everybody to be happy. I wanted everybody to get their piece of the pie, and I wanted everybody to enjoy the good time and everybody shine. And now in AEW, you're seeing me like, nope, I'm the star of the team. Give me the ball.
Yeah.
I want to score. Like, but pass it to me. You're not your time. I need to score first because we need to win.
And sometimes it's not a selfish thing. You just have to look out for yourself in a business like professional wrestling.
It is a selfish thing. It is a selfish thing, but it's not an ego thing.
Totally.
Like, and that's the difference what people really get lost with. And it's easy for the fan base to get so loud that you start listening to it instead of like, they're not playing. You're on the field playing. You're on the court scoring. Brett Favre and Tom Brady aren't listening to fans when they got to throw a touchdown.
Absolutely right. Would you say, and be honest with me here, when you were gone from Hit Row, was that your moment that you were like, this is going to be over, Hit Row is done?
I withheld judgment, and I was like, I'm going to give them an open chance. Like, I want to see what they do. I want to see what can happen because there's still talent there. There's still obstacles to overcome. But the ones that make it through are the ones that overcome the obstacles. I'm like, okay, there's talent, but now overcome those obstacles with that talent. And then, but I didn't judge. I didn't say, oh, this is not going to go bad. This is going to go well. This is going to this. Like, I just like sat back and was like, I want to see how they handle this.
Of course.
You know?
If you could change or redo a set of your gear, is there one that you would change or redo?
For sure. Like, I remember when I first started switching to the pants from the trunks and kick pads, which that was also Malachi Black's idea.
Okay.
When we were both in WWE at the same time. He was just like, I'm seeing a lot of people wearing the trunks and the kick pads and the knee pads because Finn came back down. Then you had O'Reilly. Then you had Tony Nese. Then you had like these guys. Then you had all these guys that were like, I looked around the locker room, like, man, we all kind of
look the same,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, and then Malachi had the trunks.
Right.
So he was like, I think it's real smart right now to get ahead of that and switch it up while nobody's noticing. And I was like, you're right. And so I switched over to the pants with the shortcuts, though.
Okay.
And I was like, this is just unique. It's very like Taka Michinoku style, and nobody's really doing it. And whoever was doing it, they kind of didn't stick with it long. I was like, nope, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to ride it out. But like the first iteration of it, it was just like shorts with socks.
Right.
And it was just like, okay, but like my legs aren't big enough to pull that off. I don't have big enough calves and all this, so it just didn't look right. So I was like, so those first like. And
it was a trial and error, right?
It was a trial and error, and then I was like kind of like playing games with like the staff. So like I'd put Terry Taylor's face on my socks. I had Road Dogg's face on my socks.
Oh,
just to,
that's
like, pop
funny.
down.
Even in the matches you did?
Yeah, like
wow.
live on NXT.
I don't even remember that. I'll have to go back and look and flip
You'll
through.
see Terry Taylor, Road Dogg's face on the socks. I was just like trolling them guys.
So, but I've noticed you don't wear traditional wrestling boots when you wrestle. No. You wear more like a sneaker, huh?
Yeah, they're called Legend brand, and I just kind of randomly saw them. I was looking for the right boot that's like a shortcut and like has just enough ankle but not like overly done and stuff like that. So I was flipping through and I found a pair and I like ordered them. They were affordable too, so I ordered like 2 or 3 of them. And I think I tagged him in it, and then he loved the fact that I was like, oh my God, this guy's wrestling on TV. I never had a wrestler wear my boots. They're all because they're fashionable.
Yeah.
But they're also like.
But are they comfortable?
They're super comfortable.
Okay.
Super comfortable and sneaker-like. I can wear them all day. But they're meant to be like fashion, like with this.
That's the goal. If you can find comfortability with style, you've nailed it.
And it feels like a good sneaker. So I was like, yo, I love these. This is probably my favorite wrestling boots I've ever had. And he was like, I'll send you 3 more. And then every couple months, he'll like just send me 3 more. So now like I have a like closet.
So it's became your standard wrestling boot is this sneaker. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's like a sneaker boot type deal.
How long, when you know, okay, I've got a match coming up or you're planning for a pay-per-view or whatever, how long is that process for you to create a set of gear?
The fact that I worked with Clint, he's sports entertainment gear on social media.
Okay.
I worked with him for so long. We vibe. I'm like, I'll just send like, here's an idea, here's a premise. He's like, got you. And he'll kind of just run and go with it. And like, he's even shocked me on a lot of times. So just like, I was like, oh wow, you got closer than I even thought that I was thinking. So now like, this has been going on for years, and especially my time in AEW, like we've been on the same page with a lot of like ideas and themes and like colors. And he was like, and then now he works at AEW, so now I'm like hand in hand with him now on this. And I'll collab with like people on jackets and stuff,
Okay.
and he'll base the gear off of that.
I love your jackets because they're big. They're a statement piece.
Yeah.
What's your favorite jacket that you've worn?
Oh man, this was the one I came out like as soon as I came and debuted for AEW. Like this is the one I went to.
And did you create the art on this?
This was actually made by Cozy. Shout out to Cozy. He's the one that does all the graffiti and artwork on Chris Brown's house.
Oh wow!
So they like
really
hand-to-hand.
cool.
Yeah, so he's the one that personalized this. Made by Jeff Hamilton, who gives jackets to LeBron and Steph Curry and all the NBA guys and like artists and stuff. If you look on his page, he's with Spike Lee and all these other guys,
Okay.
like big name celebrities. So, and this is actually the same jacket that's on here.
Right, for your action figure.
Yeah, so I got to send Jeff and Cozy their own, like, oh my, your artwork made it onto an action figure. And I think this might be one of the first few, like, Jeff Hamilton's in a figure ever.
How cool is it to be able to go to Walmart or Target and be able to find your action figure and also have the piece that kind of went behind it in the story to tell with the gear, right?
It's kind of surreal. It's like, in hip hop, that's a big deal. Like, Flash always has his ears to the streets, Flash Garments. He's always has his ears to the streets with, like, the culture, like what's going on, like the talk, and like, yo, this is a big deal. How often do you see like hip hop influences get on action figures?
Right, you
And
don't.
How often do you see them collab with a sport, in like pro wrestling, which is the most like abstract sport there is. So like really like doing these collaborations, I'm like, this is something I'm just never going to give away. I'm going to keep this one forever.
Yeah, as you
because of
should.
that. Yeah. And like Jeff since then has like custom made the black trench coat that I wear when I come out too. That'd probably be my favorite one. That's my go-to one. It's just like when I gained all this weight, I can't fit it as much anymore. So very often I'm like, ugh. I'm like, yeah.
Hey,
so,
but you do it for the look, right?
Right.
You do it for the entrance. You do it for the appeal, for the fans.
A lot of times I'm like, is there any like physical activity going on in this next segment? Because I gotta know. Because I will not be able to do anything.
If you were to create an ultimate set of gear to win the AEW World Title, like if you were going to win the title, what would that gear look like, or do you know?